everyone. Welcome to Real Estate with Ryan. I hope you're enjoying your weekend, and thank you for tuning in with a little Real Estate with Ryan. Always talking little real estate, and excited to be with you on a Saturday. Just being in the studio, kicking it, and having a good time. Summertime. Hope everybody enjoyed their holiday last weekend and spending some family time, doing a little barbecuing. And at the Coleman house, we had a real exciting time. It was clean out your garage day. I was talking to one of my clients. He said, "You're doing what? You're cleaning out your garage? That sounds fun. Why don't you come with us over to the lake and bring the boat up?" I said, "Well, you know." You have to understand in real estate and being in the people business or basically being on demand call, we don't have much free time. We're always moving and helping you guys. We're always on the move and constantly on demand, and we love it. But sometimes I've got that honey-do list. I've got things I've got to do. And believe it or not, July 4th was pretty quiet. We made a concerted effort. Almost been, how long has it been, Nick? I think it's probably almost a year since we're trying to get the garage straight. We're trying to convert the ultra workout room and get it fixed up. And it's one of those things where, you set a goal and you say, okay, you know what? It's going to get done. And we loaded the van up. We loaded a couple vans up and we got things done. And my wife actually had a storage unit idea. Ryan, take your clutter, take all your clutter out of here and put it to a storage unit until you go through it. So that's what we did for our holidays. Real fun. And then we did do a little fun stuff, but that was most of our holiday. So I hope you guys enjoyed your holiday. Housing market strong. Got some new listings coming on the market. 1940 Back Home Way. Luxury cabin out in Sevierville, Pigeon Forge market. You definitely want to check that out. $2,150,000, but it's a cash cow. Strong income producing property. Excess of rentals, I think the combined 2 years is 400 plus. I've got more information about that property. Just visit me at ryancoleman.org. Brand new listing on 2913 on Best Road in Maryville. $279, and that will be gone before we talk next week. So make sure you tune in, check that property. It just went live just the other day. Some congrats. 211 Regas obviously went under contract and closed. 118 Mossy Grove, congrats. Our clients, great clients on Huddleston Road and Drive, and East Shore both closed. Congrats to all those guys. So we're talking about a little real estate. We said, what's better than this show? And we may have talked about it before about competing offers, but I saw an article in the Knoxville News Sentinel talking about the housing market here in June. Where are we at? Where are we going? And if you watched anything about the real estate market, it's kind of a seller's market. We know the economy is short of everything. You name it, there's everything a shortage. I went into the paint store today, and the basic color of white, they said we don't have any, except the sheen, and basically I had to go commercial grade, but we found some, but it wasn't easy. They said we'll have to order it. Don't buy patio furniture anytime soon. That's a 22-week wait. So everything is like that. It seems like we're short of everything, and there's no difference in the housing market that we're short of inventory. That being said, it was this week that lumber made a decision to come down on price. So it was great across the real estate market. Lumber prices went down as a whole. Jobless claims, 364,000 was one of the lowest in all time recent. We see inventory on the rise. What? Inventory on the rise, Ryan? That's right. So inventory here starting in July that we saw an increase. We saw last week that the mortgage interest rates made an adjustment. So that was good. So what we're seeing in the housing market is, yes, it's a seller's market. Yes, it's competitive, but we're seeing the rates go down lower, which is a good thing. We're seeing some inventory increase. More sellers are now thinking about putting their home on the market. The consumer confidence was out over the last year, and in June was one of the highest indexes that has been out in a while. So what does all that mean? Well, I think a lot of people are seeming more confident coming out of the pandemic and different things and moving forward. We're going to see more inventory hit the market. We know at the end of July, we have some issues with the forbearance on the housing market, that there could increase some more inventory on the market and some other claims. So we will be on a watch for that. But overall, we do think some housing that may be increasing. So as a buyer, if you're in this market, hold on. there may be some more inventory coming. It may make it easier for you to find a property. But if you're like most people, we know that the summer season is the strongest time of the year, right? It's spring and summer. It doesn't matter what market you're in. Spring and summer are the busiest times throughout the year. I always joke with everybody, and I say, fall is one of the best times. It's kind of that hidden gem in East Tennessee. It's one of the leaves turn just beautiful colors, and some of the properties photograph the best, and is probably a close second to the spring market, really. But the reason that the summer market and spring are so strong is because the kids go back to school. And if you're going to move and you're going to relocate, especially if you're new to coming in the area, you've got to find the right schools, the right districts, and being within that zone. So yes, it's hard to believe it. Kids will be going back to school before we know it in a month, in August. So that's why the scramble is on and the pressure is really real. And I know a lot of parents are feeling that, and we're helping several clients now. So what do you do? What do you do to secure your property? What do you do to get things put together for those months? And agents, what do you do to represent your client? What makes sense? Well, we're going to talk about that in the market, talking today about the housing market and how to secure that property. One of the news articles was mentioning that you should be quick, first in line. And I'm going to give a little discussion, kind of that real life scenario with a great client that we just happened to find a house after how many, 4, 5, 6? I started losing count. And the challenge is, yes, that there's inventory market. If you're in the Knoxville market, things are going in multiple fashion. But some of the things that we're talking about is that the inventory is on the rise. The rates went down. We know July poses a potential of new inventory coming on the market. Some things that you want to do to make sure that you're guiding your clients on the seller in the right direction. And then also buyers, making sure we're doing the things that we need to make sure we have a chance to win on that front. So one of the things I would say, one of the biggest things I see in the marketplace, was helping one of our great clients that just went under contract, is as agents or working with the seller, we want to make sure that we're putting a plan together, a teamwork to look at all offers. Like I said, Ryan, that would obviously make sense. It does. But one of the biggest things that I think we're seeing, and we're all in the industry to understand that when the market's really slanted to one side, whether it's the buyer side, let's use that as an example. Let's say it's a buyer's market. We all remember that back in 8 and 13, 8 to 12, 8 to 14, something in that range. And it was a buyer's market. And we'd work with the buyer and we'd find a home, and it was great. We'd go show them one property, then we'd go to the next neighborhood. And before you know it, let's say that day was busy, we'd take time and say, well, hey guys, we'll go look at property tomorrow. And then we'd schedule the listings to go show tomorrow. And we'd actually be able to get to the property and show it, and it'd be there. And then you know what? The buyers would be able to get in their car, they would do a little talking, and then they say, well, honey, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And the agent would say, honey, you guys don't make a rush decision. You guys go think about it. Go home, pray about it, feel good about it, and call me. Now the agents are like, can I get in the door? How quick can we get the offer? I mean, how much above price? What do we have to do? It's a totally different mindset. But then when the buyers came in that market, what is the ultimate factor that the buyers wanted to do? I know our buyers, they said they wanted to make an offer. What's an offer? They wanted a deal, man. They wanted a deal. It's time to wheel and deal. It's the buyer's time to go in there and really make an offer. So we really spent a lot of time with the buyers to try to make an offer. And sometimes they would throw out there not the best number first. And they kind of want to go that back and forth. I know a lot of clients don't like to do that. They like to come out and be pretty firm, and this is my best offer. But a lot of buyers that we were working with in that market would make that initial offer. Well, the roles have kind of reversed now, but what we got to watch here very closely into the marketplace, especially if you represent your seller. That's why I tell you, it's always about the agent advice. It's always about having a strong team in your corner, because if you don't, the wrong advice you may just be that one that gets the wrong advice. We're tending to think that the news is all slanted, right? Slanted to the seller's market, that I can just put it out there at any price. They'll pay above, and it's easy breezy. But what do we see? Like anything in any market, things change quickly. Lumber prices go down. More people are going to start building. opens up more inventory, also opens up more construction opportunities. And these construction opportunities are direct competition to our resales, right? Because our resales, it's kind of that saying, if I want to buy a new house or a used house, the new one's the same price. Well, the resale, no matter what the market is usually rarely ever going to go above new construction. New construction always sets the tone for the whole market and the price per square foot. We're having fun. Listen, we're coming on a break. We'll talk more about this. Real Estate with Ryan. You guys stay with us.
Knoxville and East Tennessee. The region is known for its rolling hills, rivers, and lakes. There's no better place to work, live, or raise a family. Home is where your story begins. Buying or selling your home is a big decision, and you need a real estate team you can trust.
I'm Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty, your hometown experts. Whether you're buying or selling a home, let us develop a winning game plan for you.
Hometown Realty is East Tennessee's #1 real estate group and a proud sponsor of the Vols.
Your friend promised we wouldn't be homeless.
He promised. He's doing everything to fix it.
You need to call and have him fix it now.
Hey, man.
Found us a house.
No, not yet. Let me call you back. We're working on it.
Ryan Coleman with Hometown
He
Realty.
says he's doing the best he can do, honey.
Well, he's taken too long. I knew we should have gone with Ryan Coleman.
Choosing the right agent is never easy.
Call your hometown experts. We'll take care of all the details and make sure you don't get stuck in a motel. All right, guys, back after the break. Thank you for staying tuned. We're talking about the real estate market, talking about a little housing here. And in the first segment, we were talking about, in the market, obviously it's a strong market, right? And the inventory is slanted to the seller's opportunity, getting multiple offers. But we're talking about back in the 08 and 13 market, how it was a buyer's opportunity. And that the buyers always want to come out and make a deal, make an offer. Well, that being said, they want to make an offer. They're never going to give you your first best offer. Well, now we look at the market as a whole presently, right? And one of the challenges that we have is that the market is, everybody knows there's an opportunity for a seller. You would kind of say in this market, you say, well, Ryan, it's a seller's opportunity. Why in the world would I need an agent? Number two, I just sell it myself, or we just put it out there and it's going to sell in spite of itself. I would say, those are always opportunities. But number one, let's address the elephant in the room. If you sell it yourself, you've got to deal with everything that goes on involved with that. Number two, you're probably going to be marketing to agents of over 5,000, 6,000 agents in the marketplace. And you have to be savvy in the marketplace to know what to look for in the contract, what clauses, what contingencies. I had a gentleman call me about a week ago. He was so frustrated that he put his property on the market, that he sold it, that he purchased one in Kentucky. Everything was contingent. And guess what? It all blew up because the buyer, the financing, all those things weren't checked out. He didn't do the homework, or maybe didn't know. He did the best he could, got the offer. And then he proceeded to call around to agents and say, listen, I'm not going to sign with any agents. I'm just going to go ahead. And if you bring a buyer, I'll interview you. I bring a buyer, you bring a buyer, and we'll all line up. And then if you call me, then I'll do a one-day deal. And I get it. He said, I don't want to tie up with an agent. I'm frustrated, and I don't want to lose any time. So obviously panicked and in a tough situation. They say real estate is one of the most stressful situations that you can be in. Why? Because you're moving your whole family. You're moving your household. You're moving across country. If you ever talk to anybody that's ever moved, it's not dealing with the agent or the process. And then there could be some hiccups there. But the number one thing that is most frustration is what? Moving. We just helped one of the coaches at UT, found him a new place down here, super excited to have them come on the staff and excited for him to be in the area and super excited working with him. And he said, Ryan, but one of the things I hate worse is packing. So if you ask any of the wives or any of the husbands across the country, it's the moving and the packing that is the worst. I mean, your whole life is turned upside down. So imagine that if you're trying to sell your house in a super competitive market where you have every agent in town and you don't know which way to turn. At the end of the day, it's all about the numbers. The second thing I think is the challenge on that is how, if selling the house is getting the most money, the number one thing is competition, right? Without competition, you're not going to get the price. Let's just say there was only Verizon and all cell phone companies in the area. Well, they probably have a different pricing and a control of the marketplace. So competition brings prices up and competitive for you. So when we get people competing on your property, we're going to have a chance to win. It's going to be a better position. One of the biggest things is not just about price. We always want to think it's just about price. It is. It is about pricing, but there's a lot of factors that in this marketplace, let's go look at my friend that called me, was frantic. Ryan, he's got a contingency in another state. So we have to think about it, that if you have the domino effect where we're buying and selling, and this domino means our house here in Tennessee and we're moving to Kentucky, I have to secure that house in Kentucky. Imagine now how hard it is to secure a property in another market and you've got yours for sale by owner or a combination of different methods. So the challenge is even securing that one. Well, what if that deal falls through? Is the agent or the seller going to wait with you on the other turn? Mostly not. So those are the challenges that you want to look at and want to think about when you're purchasing and selling in the market. That being said, let's talk about agents. Let's talk about, if you're working with your clients, what's best for them and how we can get there to make sense. We always say, look, this show is always about the advice. There's a lot of great agents out there, but it's getting the right advice that means the difference between for sale and sold. And there's a lot of opinions out there, but when you've sold a lot of real estate and you've kind of done this a lot of times, you just kind of know. You just kind of know when you know, right? And heck, you just know when you know what to do. And if you've done it enough time, you're going to trust your experts. You're going to trust your team that they got your back. And then when we've got your back. And so one of the things that I'm seeing, or what you want to have to watch for as we see the market change, and we know that the market can change on a dime, guess what? We're seeing listings come on the market, and the agents say, well, here's our marketing advice. We're going to list the property, and we're going to say there's no showings for 2 or 3 days. And we're going to list the property with a date, Mr. Seller. And then we're going to put in the MLS that there's a date, and then we're not taking offers until that date. Well, okay, that's an idea. And then we're not going to take any offers, and then I'll put it in the MLS that says, don't send an offer or till this date. Well, Mr. Agent, if you do that, there's an opportunity there. Yes, everybody can line up, and what you're trying to create is a bidding war. But what we have to watch is how many offers does it take to win, right? How many offers will you take to sell the house? I always tell every seller, listen, it doesn't matter how many people we get through. It takes what? One offer. One buyer, one contract, one close. And the reality is, yes, we can get competing offers, but how about that buyer that's ready to make a decision? And yes, right? Yes, there may be people that outbid, but what if it's not about price? What if the buyer's cash? What if they've sold their house, but they're super motivated? And because timing is everything, and they're trying to get in with the school year, or they have a hard deadline on their property that they're closing on, that's non-contingent. And because you won't present the offer, or let's say you told your seller and gave them the wrong advice, guess where the buyer goes? They go bye-bye. They go bye-bye, and they go buy another house. Why? Because either that other agent or their other team or other seller was willing to look at that offer. Now, we're putting offers in ahead of time. Property's listed, we get an offer. What do? Well, the right thing to do and things that we do is whenever there's an offer come in, we're presenting the offer. Sure, there may be deadlines on when the sellers want time frames and certain responses, but guess what? When an offer comes in, you got to look at it, because there's always the chance of looking at that offer. What's the risk? They may not counter. They may not come back. If somebody comes in $40,000, $50,000 above cash, and they have everything where you need to be, as a seller, we have to really think about that. Now, listen, we can be greedy all we want, but we really have to think about the market and know that it could change. Yes, we'd like 10, but what I tell sellers is if the offer makes sense, there's a time limit on the offer. You really have to run the risk of saying, do we get all these offers? Maybe there's 3. But if the numbers make sense, we really have to make sure that we don't lose that potential buyer. Now, there's sometimes that we're getting into multiple offers, and the sellers, we love it. It's awesome. I would just say, listen to your agent or get the right advice. Make sure that when you're getting offers and timelines, that you look at every offer, regardless of your timeline. Because remember, it takes two to tango. And if you're not thinking about the buyer's position, that offer could be the highest offer that you got. Could have been the strongest buyer because they're what? Super motivated and they need a place to be. It's the best buyers to have because they'll pretty much do whatever it takes to secure the house. But now, because of the deadline, you've lost the one buyer, because remember, we don't ever know who that one buyer is. They went to find another house. They bought your competition, and you're stuck with financing offers or different offers that may be a hassle. They may be less motivated, and it may end up losing the deal, losing it on inspection, or the buyer has buyer remorse, which we see all the time, and it goes back on the market. So keep that in mind. I think one of the biggest things that we talk about as buyers to secure these properties, you know the basic stuff. Make sure you're pre-approved, solid offers. If you come in higher, watch those ideas. Sometimes if you're too high, it may not appraise, so you may have to waive appraisal contingency. So keep that in mind and have the proof of funds for the difference if it doesn't appraise. Let's see, what else would I think? Read the contracts, know them, know if it's contingent on the closing. Just because something's closing on another property, look at all the details. Take the supporting documentation to see. Because if somebody's got another home that's for sold, or actually not for sold, but it's going to be sold soon, and all the conditions are filled, and they're the strongest offer, maybe that offer is cash, maybe that condition's not even an issue. Because remember, we have a condition on every deal. Most of them are going to have financing. And if it's cash, they're going to throw in a condition with the appraisal. Hope you enjoyed listening to Real Estate with Ryan. Time always goes quicker than I expect. You can always check us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and the Apple Store and the Google Play. As you know, we're Knoxville's best source for real estate information. You can catch us every week right here, 693 Sold. We'll see you next week.